Okay, guys, welcome back to Built in the Bayou. We have a very special guest today, someone who's normally behind the scenes, and we're really excited that he's here today.
Yeah, so today we'd like to introduce Mr. Josh Cooper to you. He's worked in several different parts of the automotive aftermarket industry, has a lot of experience, but today is not just about necessarily lift kits, but, lessons, mistakes, everything he's learned, and picked some of that knowledge out of his brain. So welcome, Josh.
Hey, how's it going? It's good to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. So
before we dive in, we got to know, what's the craziest or funniest thing you've seen done to a build?
I would have to say someone using a wooden lift block.
Oh, that's crazy. That's actually
But
crazy.
He said it would be fine because it was treated lumber and it wasn't going to come out because it was treated, so it wouldn't rot.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Okay, so you don't have to give us any names or anything, but how long ago was this?
This was probably like 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. And he actually had them in the rear it was a Super Duty.
Oh
my
He
gosh.
had made another set and wanted me to put them in the front.
Oh my gosh.
Did you?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay, they were treated.
Yeah, they were treated, so they wouldn't fall out.
wow.
He's like, they'll last. It's treated.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
I couldn't believe it made it from wherever he installed it to my shop.
yeah, that's
But
actually insane.
Well, how long did it stay on?
I have no idea. I sent
Okay.
him away.
Okay.
I told him I would put a proper lift kit on there. And
Yeah.
he didn't want to pay for that, so he left and went and searched for someone else.
Gosh.
Whoa.
Well, you said something about your shop right there, so I guess that's a good transition to dive in to kind of get your backstory. You've worked in this industry a long time, kind of where you've it worked, you've owned a shop, all this kind of stuff. So just give us, your story.
So, growing up, my dad had a body shop, and I worked in his body shop growing up. And then, I guess when I was probably 22, 23, I opened my own off-road shop.
Okay.
And we did that for about 11 years,
Oh, wow.
probably. And after 2008, the economy crashed big time. We struggled through till 2012, 2013. Finally, we just weren't making any money. We were making a living, but
Yeah.
there was no money being made. And I finally was like,
Yeah.
I'm done. It wasn't worth the stress, 7 days a week, 10 and 12 hours a day. And
That's a lot.
yeah, it was a lot. So I called it, we shut the shop down and sold everything off, and actually came to work here from there.
Wow. Okay. So I didn't realize that you had not been here until after that, because a lot of our old time employees or long term employees were here before that mark. So, okay. So that's good to know. Yeah, those were difficult years. I know that our parents, Evan and I weren't in the business during that time frame, but that was a rough time for anybody who, I feel like franchises as well, but especially for small businesses or anybody who owned their own type of shop or anything. That was rough.
Oh, yeah. When gas spiked from $1 something a gallon to like $4 a gallon almost overnight, you couldn't give away a lift kit and a set of big tires.
Yeah.
I mean, we were making money taking lift kits off,
Wow.
which was stupid because they were never going to make that money back in the fuel mileage savings.
That's
they were
crazy.
picking up another 2 miles to the gallon maybe by going back to stock, and they were spending $1,500, $2,000 to take the kit off.
That's crazy.
And
That's wild.
Never knew that. But that's the hard part about our industry too is, when grocery bills are high, gas prices are high, people don't need a lift kit.
no, they don't.
Yeah.
No. So we went from basically doing lift kits, tires, wheels, which was kind of our bread and butter up until that point, to doing full custom builds for people who I say gas prices and inflation didn't affect so much.
Yeah.
Higher income clientele. So we were doing custom roll cages, full custom truggies, and those sorts of things. So.
And then, so when you had to shut that down, you came here. So you were getting to do all of those things, which is like full body,
Right.
to just coming here and it just being suspension. Was that hard to kind of like, it's almost like you had to close down your circle a little bit.
Yeah, it was, I'm not going to say it was hard. It was almost refreshing.
Oh.
Because I went from 7 days a week extreme hours to 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and I was kind of like, oh,
And when you clock out, you're out.
I'm out.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but I came here in sales.
Okay.
Worked with Tom, and
Tommy.
traveled all over the country, not just the country, U.S. and Canada, and did shows and trade shows and events and stuff like that. So, helped manage customers.
At that time, were we doing just mail order? I mean, it was just wholesale at the time, right? Like all
Evan
the shows
was in
and
diapers.
stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to make myself sound too young, but I was probably like 8 years old in that time frame.
Wow. So like direct was nowhere near like even a thought at that point.
No,
really?
it was complete 3-step back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what year did you come over? Like 08, 09?
No, it was 2013 maybe.
Okay.
So you made it a decent amount of time after the economy busted.
Yeah, we
So,
did.
I mean, that's
we had to evolve and change what we were doing, move into more of that high-end, like custom build stuff.
Yeah.
But we're not really in a town that's
Yeah.
We're
got a
not.
large enough population to support that.
We're not,
So if I'd been over in Dallas or Houston, something like that, or Atlanta, I
Totally
think it would have been easier.
yeah.
Just larger population to pull
Mm-hmm.
from. We did get a lot of customers from Shreveport and even East Texas that came over, and Jackson, Mississippi. We pulled customers from there. Baton Rouge pulled customers from all the way down there. So we stayed busy. We just weren't staying busy enough.
Sure.
And was your shop, was it in West Monroe?
It was.
Okay.
Yes, it was here in West Monroe.
Was it off Cypress Street down there?
Yep.
Okay.
It used to be Monroe Telco Credit Union.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
Was my original location, and I moved into a bigger building towards the end. We just needed more space.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everything crashed, and I didn't need
so
space.
wild.
Yeah. So y'all did everything from bolt-on stuff to full-out custom fabrication. And did you have like a lot of fabrication experience before that?
So during college, I worked for Steel Fabricators in Monroe. It's a structural steel fabrication company. And I started off in the shop working the night shift. And I learned fitting for like structural steel and welding and all that kind of stuff. So that's where my fabrication experience came from.
Okay.
Did a lot of that. The guys that worked there were great. If I wanted to stay after work, they told me, they said, if you stay after work, we'll teach you how to weld.
Oh, that's awesome.
They didn't teach you on the job, but they were willing to stay late and teach me how to weld. So they made me learn to stick weld, and then, before they would ever let me touch a MIG welder. I learned to MIG weld, and then I took fitting classes on the weekends, and just learned from there.
I love that. I feel like so many people in the industry who have a cool story or who have had any success, it's really awesome when they give back. Like that kind of thing, like staying after hours to help teach somebody who wants to do that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was
That's kinda where
good.
you
And
started.
then after, my dad was the production manager at that company. So he didn't want to show favoritism. So I got every horrible job that existed. It was so bad that the guys that worked there felt bad. They were like,
Oh, man.
your dad hates you. And he doesn't. He's
my
great.
gosh.
But
No, your dad
he
loves you. That's why.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
loves me. But he definitely was going to make sure that there was no favoritism being shown.
Yeah.
So I did everything in that shop, and I learned. They moved me all over the place. Ended up in the paint bay at one time because I had grown up painting cars. So Dad was like, "Oh, he can paint. Yeah, put him in the paint bay."
Yeah.
So then I'm back there painting steel beams that are 50 feet long. You're walking from one end of the building to the other.
Yeah. So it seems like, based off stories you told me, your childhood and everything, you were just raised up around trucks and 4x4s, and then you went to college, you had this experience at Steel Fabricators, and it just led you into opening up your own shop. And
It did. I was actually going to college for construction management.
okay.
And the owner of Steel Fabricators called me into his office one time, and he said, "You don't love this industry, do you?" And I was like, "I mean, I like it." And he's like, "Yeah, but you don't love it." Because in my free time, me and another guy at work were using, back then it was AutoCAD. It was, this was a long time ago. It was like AutoCAD 98, all right?
Yeah.
We were designing lift kits for one of his trucks.
Oh, wow.
And because we didn't have any money, we worked part-time. We were going to college.
Yeah.
And so we're designing lift kits on our lunch break on AutoCAD on the company
Wow.
computer. And, of course, he knew what was going on. He wasn't stupid. He was a very smart man. And he's like, you love building trucks and, like, that kind of stuff. I was like, I do. He's like, that's your passion. I said, it is. He said,
Wow.
then you need to figure out how to make a living at that. And he said, because if you can make a living at that, he said, you'll be very successful and
Yeah.
very happy.
Yeah.
So,
What a boss, though.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's
I think
incredible.
he just didn't like me and wanted me out of there. But
That's so funny. That's hard for me to believe, first of all, because it sounds like you had such a great work ethic at such a young age, which I know you're saying college, but still that's young.
yeah,
I mean,
and he told me, he said, I don't want to lose you. He said, I'd love to keep you here. He said, but he said, his passion was structural steel. He said
Yeah.
it was actually erecting structural steel, and he's had a company at one time that did that, and he said it just morphed into the fabrication end of it because it's just where life took him.
Yeah.
He said, but he said that was my passion. It's what I like to do. He said, I figured out how to make a living at it. So he said, your passion is trucks and modifying trucks. He said, you need to figure out how to make a living at it. He said, you'll be happy.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. He was, it was good advice, I think.
Well, clearly, it helped you set on the path, right?
Right. Yeah. It pushed me towards, I think, the path I was meant to go down
Sure.
and pushed me into this industry. I still worked there for several years after that, but,
Yeah.
you know, that made me think about it and decide what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, so you owned your own shop, then you came to work here. How long were you here for? And you stayed just in sales during that time period, right?
Probably the last 6 months I was here, I was in new product development.
Okay.
And then I left here, went back out on my own
Okay.
for about a year, probably. A little over a year and a half.
What were you doing on your own for that year?
Building custom Jeeps mostly. Yeah. I never really quit doing it.
Sure.
Had a small shop at home.
Sure.
People would call me everybody had my number from when I had the shop, so it was constant phone calls,
Yeah.
and they would want me to do stuff, and I would pick and choose what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause some jobs you just don't really want.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, you know, maybe I'll give it another shot, and I'll do it from my shop at home. And I stayed busy, but it was like feast or famine. And I didn't want to spend any money because I didn't know when the next big job was coming.
Yeah.
So I was like packing everything back, and it was kind of miserable.
Sure.
I enjoyed the work, but I knew I didn't want to get back into a full-blown shop again and having to manage the employees and all that. It was just not in this small of a community, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just not enough business here. And then I got a call from Superlift, and they wanted me to come do engineering for them. So,
Yeah.
And for people who are listening or watching who don't know, we live in West Monroe, Louisiana. That's where Skyjacker's based out of. It's been here since the beginning. And Superlift, which is another mega suspension company for all these years, which I know they're a little faded out at this point.
they are, yeah.
But for the longest time, it was like the two, in our opinion, at least in this part of the country, most successful suspension companies were both from the same teeny tiny small town in West Monroe, Louisiana, which is wild because the world in which we probably have our biggest customer base is not in this part
Yeah.
or
It's
not.
state.
Right.
It's funny.
And so for both of us to be here and in the same town, and that's a different story for later. But so, okay, I just wanted everybody to know, like when you went to work for Superlift, that is still actually in our same town at the
Yes.
time anyway.
Yeah, it's
It's a-
funny. Trent McGee used to always say, he was like, little do you know, little old West Monroe is like the off-road suspension capital of the country.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
wild.
it's two huge companies that started in the 70s, both of them.
Yes,
you know.
because I mean, I think there was only one or two before
Right.
us two. I mean, we
Yeah.
were one of the original
Yeah.
5, I think.
Yeah, there
ever.
was like, Rancho? and
Rancho
Trail-
was out there.
Trail
West
Master.
Coast. Yeah, I mean, most
And
of
that
them
was
were
about
all
it.
West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, there's that plug. Hey, Trent.
But yeah, they called me, wanted me to come do engineering for them, and I went over there. They got bought by a real truck, What was Truck Hero back then. And
Oh
then,
yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
then changed the name to Real Truck. And I went from engineering just suspension to everything. Like we did all types of truck accessories at that point.
Which is so crazy because, okay, obviously you said like you've done fabrication and different things along your journey and you've been so hands-on, which I do think teaches you way more than, not that I'm putting down college whatsoever. I just think that having a trade and actually learning and working with your hands is the best way to actually learn, no matter, like you said, your degree was not in what you do for a living now, technically.
Right.
And you learned that from just being hands-on and all the opportunities of getting to do that. But so how did you go, like when you left here, you were doing, like you said, new product development or sales, and then you get hired there in engineering. And like it's such a different part for that to not be like, I guess, your main job function during the previous years.
Right. I knew the guys at Superlift.
Okay.
You know, we're a small town. Everybody
Yeah,
knows
that's true.
everybody.
Yeah.
So they knew that I was able to do that, and that's where they were looking to fill a position.
Cool.
So I had learned SolidWorks on my own. I had been given like a few pointers in it a little bit, and then bought the program, put it on my computer at home, and then just started playing with it. And I taught myself SolidWorks and Autodesk Inventor and Fusion 360, several different programs. Just you never know what you're going to end up using.
Sure.
So, and all those programs are very similar. Once you learn the commands and how it works, if you know one, you can fumble through the other one until you get the hang of it. So,
Yeah.
and YouTube's a great source for tutorials.
Yeah.
Now, as-
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
As an actual engineering like job function, when that went from just Superlift to all of a sudden now Truck Hero with 20, 30-ish brands, and you went from just designing lift kits to everything, was that like an enjoyable process for you to like your skill set like grew a lot in that process, or what was that like?
I enjoyed branching out and like doing the other parts of it as far as like accessories and stuff, because you kind of, after you do one thing for so long, you kind of want to branch out and do a little something different. And it gave me the opportunity to do other things, you know, bumpers and rock sliders and step bars or you know, whatever. It was little trinkets that went on vehicles. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I did learn from everybody that I worked with. I mean, they have like 40 engineers at the corporate office that you get to talk to, and you can learn from everybody learns from everyone. So that was great. I did miss the suspension end of it because towards the end of my tenure there, we weren't doing hardly any suspension anymore. It was almost all accessories, or mostly there was a lot of corporate steps in the process.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which you have in corporate ran businesses.
And it is
Well, it's just different when you're used to a smaller business side, then you go to that.
It feels like a huge bottleneck when you come from a small business that where you're like, all right, it's designed, it's prototyped, it's tested, instructions are written, let's go. And then
Well, and I think it's funny to think about too, because you still, even though Truck Hero and then Real Truck, all of those things, you were still in West Monroe, Louisiana. Like it was still, you didn't have to move to go be a part of that. Like it like overtook the small town base. So you're still in the small town feel and building, it always was, but now it is corporately ran. So it's like that had to be so different.
yes, yeah, So I'm still working in West Monroe in the small office. There was 3 of us in that office, 3 engineers in that office, but we were doing, you do Microsoft Teams meetings with corporate constantly, and it was a slower pace, which was frustrating. I understand why they do it from a corporate standpoint, because it's such a big company and you have so many people that they have to make sure that everything is done a certain way and things don't fall through the cracks. So, but for somebody that's used to just blowing through it and getting it done, it gets hard.
Yeah. I bet.
But towards the end of my tenure there, probably the last year I was there, I transitioned into the marketing department and assisted opening a retail store in Detroit for a
Oh,
real
cool.
truck.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I spent
Wow.
most of 2025 traveling back and forth to Detroit. I spent every other week in Detroit. In
So like a
2025.
brick and mortar retail store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they opened a big retail store in Detroit because I'd had a shop previously.
Yeah.
I was asked to assist on that project to
Yeah,
get that
makes
store
sense.
up and
Yeah.
going. So it's a two installation bay, but it's a 15,000 square foot store.
Wow. And is that store still open?
Yes, yeah, it just opened in November.
Oh, okay. So it's like brand
Okay.
new.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Okay.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
And then you started here, what, in February?
February.
February.
Yeah, I started talking. JR reached out to me in December, I think.
Yeah.
And we started the talks back and forth, and then ended up coming on board mid-February, right after King of the Hammers.
Yeah. Oh, and that's a good thing to talk about too. So you're a part of a race team out there, right? With Martin Castro, and what's that team called?
SoCal X, or
SoCal
SoCal
X.
Expedition.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Freight Factory.
Awesome.
Josh Soul is the owner of the team and the driver. Martin Castro runs the team pretty much, and I work with those guys. Been working with them for about 3 years now.
That is so fun. Tell us what you get to do there.
So I fly out for King of the Hammers every year, and basically we race prep cars. They pre-run every day and come back, and we fix what they tore up. We change burn-up transmissions 3 times in a week. Like,
Oh my gosh.
And those cars aren't easy to change transmissions out, are they?
no. So last year, 2025 King of the Hammers, I think we went through 3 transmissions in the 4800 car. And we found it when we were changing the last one, the plumbing. I don't know who did the plumbing on it, but somebody had plumbed it backwards.
Oh,
And it was starving it for fluid. Well, we were only getting like 5 miles out of it, and it was smoking the transmission.
Oh my gosh.
So, but that transmission, if you don't, it's a bomber car. You have to take it out through the inside. So you have to take all the interior out, seats, the center console area. You pull the Atlas out of it, and then the transmission comes up and out the side window.
Ugh. Sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible.
It's a
Well,
huge transmission too.
And for people who haven't been to King of Hammers, it's not like an ideal setup out there.
No, you're in the middle
to,
of
like,
nowhere. You're in a
chain, like-
desert,
yeah.
under a big tent with vinyl tarps on the floor.
Yeah.
It's a harsh environment.
Yeah.
It's dusty. The wind's blowing all the time. It's normally freezing cold, and you're pulling these transmissions out. And of course, the team's great because they show up with everything. I mean, they've got plasma cutters and welders.
Oh, wow.
and
That's great.
you name it, full toolboxes with everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And the whole off-road community, Ultra 4, has been great because I've seen people burn a transmission up and they're like, I'm out. I'm not going to be able to race. They burn it up during qualifying, or they burn it up during pre-running or something like that, and they're out. And then another guy's like, you need a transmission? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, what are you running? And he
He's a
names off
competitor.
whichever one. Yeah, it's another competitor. He's
Yeah.
like, well, I have a spare. You can have mine.
Yeah, see, I love that.
And and one competitor will give his spare transmission to another one just so he can race.
It's amazing.
And
But that is our
you don't-
industry.
Yeah, you don't see that anywhere else.
No. It truly is the best industry to be a part of. And I haven't got to experience the racing side as much, but I mean, there's the same guys.
Right.
They're the same guys that are doing the 4x4 off-road, slow rock crawl, who want to go out there and race the hammers. So it's like you get a crossover a little bit, but for the most part, like that core belief system is the same. At least that's been my experience, and I love that.
Yeah, this year at King of the Hammers, we pit next to Randy Slauson every year.
Nice.
Kind of each team helps each other. We're all friends, but we blew a steering ram on our 4400 car. Well, one of Randy's guys heard that we had blown the ram. He's like, well, we have an extra. I was like, you sure you don't mind loaning it? He's
Yeah.
like, No, I'll have them run it out here, you know.
Like once it's in here, it's ours. Like you
Yeah.
let us borrow it, right?
So he brings us his spare steering ram, his last spare
gosh.
steering ram. We put it on our 4400 car, and it leaves the pit. 10 minutes later,
No.
Randy comes into the pit with a blown steering ram.
Oh my goodness.
So now we're pulling, steering rams off of like our 4800 car and loaning it to Randy. And anyway, we ended up blowing 2 steering rams on each car. I think we were pulling rams from like
Everywhere.
all of the spare cars.
But the
that we
course,
had.
the course was really hard.
It
this
was
year,
really
wasn't
hard
it?
this year. Yeah, it was really hard.
I
And-
watched some of it, and you can't always see everything through video, but even through the video, it looked intense.
Yeah. Well, and we timed out. So when Josh and Martin came into remote pit 2, they had to be out of remote pit 2 by 8 p.m. And they came in at like 8:05. And they were like, "You guys are done. You're timed out. The car's still running. Everything's still doing good, but we were timed out."
Oh, that
well,
sucks.
Randy had come in with a blown ram, and Josh and Martin had picked up a spare ram at main pit because they knew Randy was coming in with a blown one.
Yeah.
They brought it to remote pit 2 on their last lap through. And
Helped
we
you get it
helped
switched
Randy's
out.
guys swap
Yeah.
everything out, and Randy got out of remote pit 2 in time and ended up winning the race.
That is
So-
crazy.
And y'all are running solid axle cars.
Solid axle bomber cars, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And our car has the live valve shocks
Yeah.
on it. I think it's the only solid axle car running live valve.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a game changer for sure.
And I assume, working in that environment has really, I would say, probably grew your skill set a lot.
It has. I've
Yeah.
learned a lot from those guys, working in the race environment.
Yeah.
And, Martin is the goofiest person you will
Yeah.
ever meet, but the man's a genius.
Yeah. Yeah,
He really is. He's super smart. But when you meet him, you think, this guy's an idiot. I don't know if I can take him. But then
We are Team Martin.
Oh, yeah.
when
for
you when you
sure.
get to know him, it's like, you know what? He's not an idiot. He's really smart.
Yeah.
Well, and he's for people who don't know Martin, he helped really build Milestar Tires, the brand.
Yep.
And he was like the guy, the face of Milestar, for all those years
Yeah.
of their first, I guess, 5 years.
Yeah, him and Andrew really
Yes,
really
and
kinda
obviously Andrew's wonderful.
took the brand to a level where
Yeah.
I think only him and Andrew could have done
I
that.
completely agree.
I don't think anybody else would have came up with that strategy.
No.
Well, because he's just such a enthusiast, but also like a loyal guy. He's a people's guy, and like we say this all the time, and you know this too. Like we're a people brand. We're not necessarily a name brand. Like wherever the people go that we want to work with, that's where we go, and that's how we got involved with Milestar to begin with. Because Andrew moved to Milestar and helped create, or to Tire Co. and helped create Milestar. But yeah, so that was how we got to meet Martin, I think.
Yeah, we're definitely a
Me, I know. Did y'all meet
yeah.
him before?
I personally didn't. Dad might have
Okay.
because I think Andrew and Martin were both at Falcon before Milestar, I believe.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they were
then
both at Falcon.
Andrew
Martin
went
was
over
too.
to Milestar, and he obviously recruited Martin to
Yeah.
come with him. But yeah, I agree with you, Mallory. I think we're definitely a people over product.
Yeah.
Relationships and people matter.
Yeah.
And that's where we like to align with, not necessarily just a product.
Well, because I do think when you have the right people, you get the right feedback, honest feedback, good or bad. I know for when we released our coilovers, it was like that for the year before. We only gave those to people we know would give us the real feedback, but we could trust to test the product and trust to keep the loyalty there. And I feel like they respected your dad and trusted your dad that way with the Milestar tire. And that has grown, and it's a great tire. They have come such a long way because they listened to the people. And so it's like product can always get there.
Right.
But the people aren't always the right people. So anyway.
I think with the Milestar deal, they're one of the only brands that's like consumer ran. And not only that, they would admit like, hey, we know we did this wrong. What's your opinion on how we can do it better?
Right.
Yeah.
How can we improve it?
And that,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't find that.
no,
That's hard
most
to
companies
find.
don't do that.
Nuh-uh.
No. They want to hide or be like, well, no, shove that under the rug. We didn't do
No,
that.
we did
whatever.
that right.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
just using it wrong.
You're
Right.
using it wrong. Yes, it's the user issue. Yes.
No, if you have a problem, I'm that way. If I design something and you have a problem with it, I want to know about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I want to redo it.
Well, how else are you going to fix it?
Not that any of my stuff ever has a problem.
No, never.
Oh, never.
Never.
Well, Josh, a question. Looking back at your career and everything you've learned, what's one of the biggest lessons that you've taken away?
Don't be hard-headed.
Wow.
You know, take criticism, constructive or otherwise, and don't be so hard-headed or bullheaded that you're always right, or there's always another way to look at something and always another way to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned to listen to everyone around me, everyone I work with, coworkers, employers, customers, and take their feedback, because sometimes you get blinders on and you're going down this path with a project and you can't see any other route.
Yeah.
And then you get frustrated, you get hung up, and then somebody can walk in and look at it and go, well, why don't you do this? And you just look up at them and you're like, I don't know. Where have you
Dang
been?
Yeah.
I've been beating my head for 3 hours
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to get this to work. And then you walk in here and it's like, well, it's obvious.
Yeah.
And then I've sat there and fought something for half a day and finally just close it and walk away from it. And I come back in the next morning, I sit down, turn my computer on and open the file, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, you idiot.
Yeah.
It just, you get a fresh take on it the next
Yeah.
day. Sometimes you just have to walk away from it and then come back the next day with, a good night's sleep and a fresh take on it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that that's advice that genuinely you could only have from experience and age and wisdom and growing in that, because I know for me it is really hard to take criticism sometimes, and I think it depends too on the person and like how people give it, but at the end of the day, no matter what, you have to take it,
Right.
no matter how they give it. Like, you have to still be willing to receive it and take something from it without being offended or hold it against that person and be able to move forward, whether it's in business or outside of business. I love that advice, because that's actually something that I feel like you only can grow and learn how to do.
Right.
I don't think anybody's good at that at the beginning of their career.
No, I was not at all. Like, I was super hard-headed. And I would get blinders on, and it was like I had a path. This is where I was going, and there was no deviation from that. But life will teach you to pull those blinders off and look around.
Yeah, humility takes you a lot longer than, or a lot farther than pride does.
Yeah.
But that's really hard.
It is. It
really
is.
hard.
It's a hard lesson to learn, and the sooner you can learn that at a young age, the better off you'll be and the further you'll go in your career and in life.
And it's like one of the sayings that I like is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room.
That
and
is
so it's
correct.
like, just from a humility aspect,
Yeah.
it keeps me in check. But that's a really hard thing, like y'all talking about pride. Like, I'm a younger man, kind of newer in my career, and it's like I can get caught up in like, no, I know what I'm doing is right. Like, it's going to accomplish the goal.
Yeah.
But then
It's
there
going
might
to
be a
work.
way that's way better, or the way I'm doing is not going to work. And so it's just keeping that in mind.
And a flip side to Evan's point, I think it's important to feel like that to an extent, because that means you care. You want to do a good job. Like, you
Right. want
want to be proud, or people in your space be proud of what you're doing. So it's definitely a hard balance.
Yeah, it is.
I think you have to have a little bit of that hard-headedness to survive. Honestly, to survive life and business nowadays in the world we live in, if you don't have some sort of like backbone or hard-headedness, the world will crush you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
That's a
know?
good point. Yeah.
And so I think you do have to have a little bit of that, just being able to humbly find a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I know till this day, if I know I'm right on the way I'm doing it, it's still very difficult
Sure, to not push and drive.
to deviate from it.
Yeah.
But I've learned to manage that a little bit and kind of work my way around it and maybe try other paths, and
Then come back to the same
then
way.
I might end up coming back to the same one. I might not.
Sure.
Sometimes when I try another, I'm like, okay, well, that works too.
Yeah.
And it works just as good. It's just a different way to
Yeah.
do it. And if that's the way it needs to
Well,
be
and
done
I think
from a
it
cost
goes,
perspective
Yeah.
or
Sure.
whatever. But
and I think it goes to one of those things of like, you have to know who you're communicating to get your
Yes.
point across, and what method of
good.
communication
Yeah.
you have to work with that person, because everybody's different. It's like, that's something I'm learning now, is like, depending on who I'm talking to about something, I might have to communicate it in a different way to this person versus this person.
yes,
Yes, and that is something that I struggle with. Evan's probably much better at that. He's very much like his dad on that. They're very, not that they can't be McCurry's, but they are very they're more laid back on their approach.
Yeah.
They can be softer. I do think that's Evan being raised around 4 sisters.
That ain't no lie.
For real? Okay. He can softly approach where it's like, I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time with, it doesn't matter who it is. Like, this is just what it is. Like, a fact is a fact, a number's a number, data's data, here it is. And I don't always get the response that I think I should get. And I think I'm learning that still, it's the approach of
The
how I'm
approach makes a
presenting it and how I'm
difference.
communicating it to the group, which
Yeah.
when it's me and Evan, I can say it as blunt as I need to, because
Right.
he knows me enough and knows that, like, I'm not being offensive or whatever, just here's the number. Where other people, it's like, I cannot get my way doing it like that.
Yeah.
So that has been hard. That's been a hard one.
I've got 4 daughters, so I've learned that softer approach to things, because just the blunt
Y'all are good at that.
approach does not always work, and sometimes ends up in tears.
I'll say, how many tears? How many tears do we want to see today?
It's like, all right, I need to approach this differently and see how to talk to them. And my wife is like, they're girls, you can't talk to them like that. I'm like,
Yes.
but she's like, no, but.
It's a different experience.
I'm like, okay.
But
So-
when you work with women then in the business, which you don't work with many women, but when you do, you already know how to approach that so much better than people who don't have a bunch of daughters or a bunch of sisters.
Yep.
They have to learn that the hard way. It might take them longer, where y'all kind of already have that. So it's definitely a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's made things a lot easier, learning that softer approach to things, because not everybody takes the blunt,
No,
headstrong
sure.
Yeah.
approach.
Well, I think that's a good transition into a question of, after everything you've seen in the industry and all your knowledge and experience that you have, what's one piece of advice you give to someone that's buying or building a vehicle?
So, I guess the best advice I can give someone, plan your build out ahead of time. Don't just run into it blindly
Yeah.
and buy the cheapest thing you can find, because that's all you can afford at that time. Plan your build and then work towards that goal. Plan it in stages. You do stage 1 and then you step up stage 2. You don't end up wasting money that way. I see so many people that
That's good advice.
it's like, well, this is all I can do right now, or I can buy this because it's the cheapest thing out there, and it gets me almost to my goal. And then they buy it, and they get it on their vehicle, and they're like, well, that's garbage, and
Yeah.
I really shouldn't have spent that money, because now I have to spend that money again to buy something that is going to last more than a year or two.
Yeah.
And metal parts, as long as the thickness is correct, most of that holds up. But you run into like bushing problems and like wear items on a lot of these suspension systems out there. They just don't last.
Well, and that's stuff that people don't think about, especially when they're building or buying their first one and they get excited. They're not thinking about that for someone who's been through multiple vehicles, been through multiple builds. Like, the wear and tear, and they are not thinking about that.
No, they're not.
Well, and it's hard in today's world with social media and YouTube and all these things, to where you have so many paid people that are supporting a brand,
Yes.
where that person is a fan of this content creator's content, so they're just going to do what they say. Where that
Right.
person, that content creator, may just be paid to say that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a hard mix, especially for new people getting into it, to decipher, what actually is the correct course of action of going about.
So good. True.
And I would say, be honest with yourself on what you're going to use that truck for, or Jeep, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you know you're going to take it off road and beat it to death, you need to build accordingly.
Yeah.
If you know you're never getting off the blacktop, sometimes you don't need to spend money in certain areas.
Yeah.
It's a waste, but they need to be honest with themselves about what they're going to do with it and really think through it. And I've seen people like, oh, I bought this brand new Jeep. It's not going off road, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I think it will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, nope, not taking it off road. I'm like, I know you.
Well, and I think too, it depends. Like when you first get a build, and then you use, say, just like for a Jeep. For me, for example, I've ridden in company vehicles for all these years, but until I owned my own Jeep and drove it on trails or in different terrain, I didn't really know what I needed yet.
Right.
I didn't know how I liked it to feel yet, or what Joe wanted it to have on it yet. So if I would have bought it all at first, by the time I got a few trips in, I would have to have taken it off, spent the time to take it off, or have Joe use his time to take it off, then buy what we really wanted. So sometimes patience is key there.
It is. And anyone building a Jeep for off-road, if they're new to the sport, getting into it, I highly recommend taking that vehicle off-road.
Yeah.
Bone stock.
Yeah.
Don't go hit the hardest trail. Go get on the trail. Go riding. No lockers. No big tires. Do a couple trails. It will teach you how to drive.
Yeah.
And then it'll also teach you what you really want out of that Jeep.
Yeah.
So get a couple trails under your belt and then say, okay, this is what I want. This is where I want to get to. And then start building it.
Yeah.
If you get out there and you drive 33-inch tires, no lockers, you're going to learn how to drive. You're not going to have a choice.
Yeah.
Maybe put a winch on it before you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like highly recommended because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
But it will teach you how to drive.
Well, and that's going to teach you really how to pick your line.
It will. It'll teach you how to pick your line. Go with experienced people.
Yeah.
They may have a bigger Jeep.
Yeah.
But most wheelers, they can be in a four-door JL on 40s or 42s. And if you've got a stock JL, they'll go run a stock level trail with you. They don't care.
Yeah. No,
They'll
definitely.
teach you how
Yeah.
to pick your line and get through that trail. And it'll teach you a lot about your Jeep, and it'll teach you a lot about yourself. So.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I think it's important too when a customer's either searching for a brand to buy or looking at a garage to do everything for them. It's important to try to educate yourself to figure out if they're doing it the right way.
Right.
And building something the right way. Like I know the big craze right now with coilovers is I want 14-inch coilovers. I want 16-inch coilovers.
Yeah.
But 60% of these guys, the way they have it mounted, are only using 11 inches, 12 inches of stroke of that 14. So it's like, not that that's necessarily the wrong way to do things, but it's just, finding somebody that's not just doing what's the big craze on social media right now, and actually doing something that fits you, your driving style, your habits of your daily life, and what your goal is.
Yeah, if your vehicle can cycle 14, yeah, that's fine. But most of them end up running into steering issues, and they're having to mount them where they don't actually cycle 14.
Yeah.
They go to full hydraulic to get a full 14 inches of travel out of their coilover. Hydraulic steering, by the way, if that didn't make sense. But some of the stock steering systems, you can't get 14 inches of travel out of it. It just doesn't have it. So,
well, and it's like we ran into that with my LJ that we're building right now. Mm-hmm. It's like we put 14s on there. Okay, cool. I have a lot of droop and a lot of articulation, but then we had to limit it because then it would start destroying the front drive shaft.
Right.
So it's like, is it worth it at that point?
Yeah, when on yours, we had the Curry 60 hitting the frame, and then at full droop, we were going to blow out the front drive shaft, or at the very limit of the front drive shaft.
Yeah.
So we made the call to back up to a 12-inch coilover.
And also, that's a lower ride height, which I'm
Yes,
great with.
which got the
So,
ride height down a little
yeah.
bit, which is going to be even better for that build. A lot of the guys, they see these Jeeps that have huge coilovers and tons of travel. A lot of people don't realize what they did to get there. You know,
Yeah.
they front half or back half the frames, and at that point, you're getting into a pretty extreme build. It's not a bolt-on or
Oh no.
which yours isn't fully bolt-on. It's 90% bolt-on.
Yeah.
With that new suspension, but the coilover tower's welded on, the bump stop bracket's welded on. Outside of that, everything else was bolt-on.
Yeah.
But there again, experience, knowledge, learning, listening to people around you.
Yeah.
It's the best way.
It is.
Well, we're glad that we have you back.
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
glad to be back.
Yeah, we're really
I've
excited.
enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's really fun when you have somebody who goes out and gets experience in different avenues, and then if you get the opportunity to have them back, then you get to benefit from that. And so we definitely are. Come on, Josh.
Yeah.
Come on back.
Team Josh.
Yeah,
come on.
Team Josh.
And I heard you had to sign a lifetime contract.
Yes.
I heard too.
Yes, I was told I had a lifetime contract. I can't
With
ever
no
leave.
opportunity for retirement.
No. It does come with a 20% raise every year, though.
Really? Wow. That's pretty sweet.
Wait, hold
I
on.
didn't hear about that part.
Wait, hold on.
We
That's
got
not
that
in my
part.
contract.
No.
Hold up.
Wow.
Pause.
Now that we've got all this recorded, so
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna need y'all to agree to that.
Yeah. I don't think so. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today, Josh. I think, one of the biggest takeaways I got was just doing stuff the right way. Building stuff the right way, doing the work the right way, not just doing what the trend is, but really doing it the right way. And
Right.
So thank you for today. Enjoyed it.
All right, thanks for having me.
Bye.